All right, good morning. You guys ready to go here? I'm meteorologist Ben Peine. It is Ben at 10 on this Tuesday, July the 22nd. And have you felt it? Have you been outside? We've got just a little bit of a break in the humidity out there for today. In fact, many locations waking up with temperatures in the 60s instead of 70s this morning. So kind of a 1 to 2 day break in that humidity. It's going to get hotter tomorrow. Then that tropical air returns Thursday, and then we'll start to look ahead to a chance of some storms as we look ahead to this weekend. So thanks for joining us on the program this morning. It is Ben at 10. You can always catch it here on my Facebook page, Meteorologist Ben Peine, Peine. Extol Weather on Facebook, Extol Media on YouTube. Thanks for liking or subscribing right there, and extolmag.com/weather on the good old World Wide Web. So as we take a peek outside, we do have some high clouds still filtering out a little bit of that morning sunshine, but it is going to be mostly sunny today. We have a light east-northeast breeze, which has been bringing in what we call a backdoor cool front. And it's called backdoor because it's coming in from the opposite direction as fronts normally move in from. So normally we get a cool front or a cold front from the northwest. This is moving in from the northeast, which is kind of typical for this time of the year in the summertime. So that was a look outside. Let's take a look at the radar and satellite as things are pretty quiet. And thankfully, we have a few dry days on our hands as well, which we could certainly use to maybe get out in the yards and get some things done outside and not worry about getting the downpours that we've been getting off and on lately. So things are pretty quiet across the area. We'd have, again, a little layer of some high clouds drifting over southern Indiana. And then you can see a little bit thicker cloud cover around Elizabethtown and down to Campbellsville, Kentucky. But overall, we're going to see those clouds thin out. And it does look like those storm chances will stay out to our west today. So also, if you look closely here, you can see this is that backdoor front. Right there is kind of the edge of the drier air and then super muggy just out to the west. So just kind of interesting to just get this little wedge of like a 1 to 2 day lower dew point drier air in place. So as far as our weather going today is looking fantastic across the area. Checking in on the comments as usual here. We've got Beverly Haggis with a good morning from Borden, Indiana, popping in first. Dennis Gregory, good morning from Bedford, Indiana, up there in Lawrence County. Orlean Whitlow with a good morning as well. And Patricia Spriggs, I think I will miss the rain. My yard looks great right now. Have a great day. I'm not going to miss the rain for now. We're going to get some back Saturday. And I put down a decent amount of grass seed and some straw in one area in my backyard. And it's actually popping up really good right now. But I don't want to have to take a hose down there to the middle of the backyard. I'm too lazy to do that. So I'm hoping we'll be okay the next couple of days before we get some rain back in that picture for Saturday. Might be a little interruption in your weekend with some scattered showers and thunderstorms for Saturday. Thanks for popping in the comments. If you're watching the replay, thanks for watching, whether it's later this afternoon or tonight. So I always like to see those numbers going up throughout the day. And also feel free to drop in the comments as well. So that was a look outside there. Let's take a look at some more current conditions across the area. And let me go ahead and bring it up here. So this is a look at extolmag.com/weather. There's our live stream up right there. Our very latest weather story has been posted, by the way, this morning. It's titled Lower Humidity Today, Big Heat Returns Soon, Then Weekend Storms. So there's that punch of drier air on that map. So there's the ride up. There's a look at the heat index values Thursday climbing over 100. We got today's forecast, tonight's forecast, the UV index up to a very high level of 10. Something that might bother some of you is we're starting to see an increase in the weed pollen, plantain and nettle specifically. There's the big old 7-day forecast. And a shout out to my buddy Michael Long certified agency and customer excellence. You can call him 812-578-3072. And Dennis Gregory from Bedford. He's offices out of Bedford, Indiana, but he covers the entire Hoosier state. So if you want a quote there, I highly recommend Michael Long with AmFam, American Family Insurance. Get a couple more shout outs here, and then we'll get rolling on into those current conditions and look at the weather model data. Typically, if you're a regular viewer, you see us starting to cover the weather models, digging into that weather model data around 10:20 or so. LionsRoofingCo.com. I mean, yesterday, here's another example with Lions Roofing. So I was driving by my mom's house, and like the cap shingles, they're like flopped over. So I had to get up on the roof with my bad back and text my buddy DJ at Lions Roofing, gave me some advice on that, flip them back over, but I still need to tack them back down. So thankfully, that not even getting paid for the advice that they're giving me, but thanks to DJ Zip for helping me out. That he's a sales rep there at Lions Roofing, family-owned company right here out of Memphis, Indiana, but they work in Kentucky as well. So give them a call wherever you're at, Louisville or Indiana, 812-294-3595, protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime. And as I've been mentioning as well, as they grow and are getting busier and busier, they have some job openings. So roofing repair technician job opening, you can go there and apply online, lionsroofingco.com. Speaking of job postings, Libs Paving has many job postings here on libspaving.com. And there you can see all the available employment opportunities right there. And you can obviously get a better opportunity for employment and your dream job with all of the different programs here offered at ivytech.edu. Just go to ivytech.edu and go to the Sellersburg location, and you'll find a whole lot more information there. 42 different programs offered, and they've got RN program, IT. I mean, I can't list them all. There's a ton of them, and they've got partnerships with businesses, organizations, schools all throughout Southern Indiana. So providing a workforce in Southern Indiana is what they're doing there with some great folks out at Ivy Tech at the Sellersburg campus. All right, getting back to the current conditions. So that was the weather story at extolmag.com/weather. And then as to the interactive radar, really don't need the radar today since it will be dry, but just checking out some of the temperatures there in the mid to upper 70s. So we do have July heat. However, the humidity is going to be dropping off. So this is a look at the low temperatures this morning with the Indiana Mesonet. This is powered out of Purdue. And they're trying to grow this, by the way. We kind of have a desert and weather observation stations over southern Indiana. But you can see some of these stations did drop down to the upper 60s. There's one station there near Patoka. And then I believe that one is in Crawford County at the school there. So that is indianamesonet.org. And we will celebrate the dew points, the lower dew points today. And we'll take a look at that as well here. I just saw a comment that made me giggle. So I'm going to get to that here in just a second. Mostly cloudy skies. We look live here with the Falls of the Ohio Foundation.org camera. So a little buggy out there. This, I don't know about you guys, but in our backyard, this has been the buggiest spring, summer that I can remember living out where we live out in Borden. And I think my theory on that is because we had a pretty hardy winter. I don't believe in the cold winter kills bugs anymore. But we had such a wet spring that I think, that just allowed the larvae or the eggs or whatever to grow like crazy. Just how wet it's been. I mean, we've had rain about every other day this entire year. So that's my theory. Wet spring, wet summer, bugs like crazy out there. All right, we got a good morning from Laverne Bannett from Floyd's Knobs. Thank you very much. A lot of Bannetts up there. And Perry Porter says, good morning on this sticky day. Our days are getting shorter. My sleeping is getting longer. Not too shabby on that. And Weezer said, don't kick the ladder out again. I was just talking about climbing up on my mom's roof to fix a couple shingles. And thankfully, the ladder did not drop off. Thanks for the reminder there. Celeste Garrett from Elizabethtown, good morning to you. And John Fox from right over the river there. Good morning, John. Thanks for tuning in here this morning as well. John, go Cards, even though they're just kind of so-so this year. All right, let's get back to a look at the current conditions. I want to show you, again, it's a celebration of lower dew points today. Some of the lowest dew points that we've seen in a long time. So let me go ahead and back out of the radar and satellite. The RadSat, the radar and satellite, is pretty quiet. And so I'm going to bring up the dew points, but also the precipitable water we'll take a look at as well. But first, we will. So anything in blue here, let's take a look at the full screen version, is tropical air. So you can see that goes all the way up into Minnesota, all the way from the Gulf and the Atlantic is just this south breeze, and it goes all the way up. So right up the gut of the Mississippi Valley, you got dew points in the mid 70s in St. Louis. St. Louis, a rather humid place in the summertime. But check this out right here. So this is this backdoor front that we're calling it, as it comes in from the opposite direction. And so you got 50s dew points in Ohio. That is like Great Lakes air, kind of Canadian air. I mean, it feels amazing up in New York. They've got 40s dew points. But for us, we are seeing those dew points lowering as well. So as we come in a little bit closer, I mean, Indianapolis is feeling great. Dew point low 60s there, 61. Dew point in Louisville, the lowest I've seen it in quite some time, at 66. Now, there is kind of a division here. Some are more comfortable than others, let's say in our viewing area here. So Elizabethtown still has lower 70s dew points. It is still really tropical out in Evansville at 77, 79, near 80 dew points in western Kentucky. So that is that Florida swampy air in the blue. And then the green is a lot better. That is the 60s dew point. So you can see that trend. The farther northeast you go, it's going to feel better. And the farther southwest you go, it's going to be muggier. Now, we should keep this somewhat drier air in place through tomorrow, but it does get hotter for our Wednesday. We're going to be well into the 90s tomorrow. Looking at upper 80s for today. And then we're going to see that humidity ramp right back up Thursday, Friday. So day or two break in the extreme humidity, we shall enjoy it. So let's get to the forecast here as well. And just a reminder too, we're talking about some of our partners and advertisers here at Extol Media, Extol Weather. If you ever want to join up with us, you can contact me, Ben at extolmag.com, Jason at extolmag.com. Feel free to shoot me an email and I'll get right back with you. And if you have a weather question, feel free to contact me, BEN, easy to do, at extolmag.com. Happy to be your megaphone throughout Southern Indiana and beyond. So the weather headlines today for your July 22nd, lower humidity today, dry through Thursday, and might get an isolated pop-up shower or thunderstorm Friday as a front gets a little bit closer and the high pressure ridge breaks down a little bit. And then storms are likely Saturday. That's probably going to be our best chance of some showers and thunderstorms over the next 7 days there for Saturday. The play ball forecast, my son gets to go out and play some golf. I would love to get out there too, but I'm going to try to take it a little gingerly on the back for now. But lower humidity and sunshine, we're shooting for a high of around 89 degrees. You'll notice the humidity is lower out there, at least for most of us. If you're farther west of I-65, especially in Kentucky, you might stay a bit muggier today. East-northeast breeze at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. UV index is at a very high level of 10. So easy to burn out there as we continue to reduce the cloud cover as we head into the afternoon. And again, a change here to the allergy report. It's up to moderate levels now of the weed pollen especially. So if you're not affected by grass or tree pollen, well, you may be affected by weed pollen. So you might be suffering from that if you're noticing the sinuses clogging up a bit. Could be the weed pollen. Okay, the other thing here we're noticing is those earlier sunsets. So the sunset tonight is at 9:01. We're down to 14 hours and 23 minutes of daylight. Now, in a couple days, July 24th, that would be Thursday, we're looking at a before 9 p.m. sunset. And then by September 9th, we're going to be looking at a before 8 p.m. sunset, and we lose about 2 hours of daylight in the next like month and a half. It's kind of crazy how quickly we lose that daylight. And then, of course, by early November, we have the time change. We fall back an hour, and we're down to 10 hours, 10 and a half hours of daylight, 5:42 p.m. sunset. I think we are 63 days away from the beginning of the fall season, the autumnal equinox, when the sun's direct rays are over the equator. We have equal day, equal night at that time. I think we're 32 days away from college football. Well, fall things, we're kind of midsummer, so fall things are getting a little bit closer. Starting to time it out a little bit. Again, that forecast today, 89, lower humidity, mostly sunny, east-northeast breeze at 5 to 10. Again, that sunset at 9:01. Tonight, mostly clear, not quite as humid out there. Should be nice and mild overnight with a low of 68 degrees. And we've been kind of right around a record stretch of a long period of warm nighttime temperatures, mostly in the 70s since mid-June. Our forecast tomorrow for your Wednesday, July the 23rd, around 70 at 8 a.m. After lows in the upper 60s, 88 at noon, and then shooting up to 94 tomorrow afternoon. But again, the humidity isn't crazy tomorrow. That is going to ramp back up on Thursday. Sun up 6:38 tomorrow morning, sunset right at 9 p.m. for tomorrow. Here's that 7-day forecast. 94 for tomorrow, 95 Thursday. Heat index could be up around 105 Thursday, and then about the same for Friday. But Friday, about a 30% chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm, maybe a little better chance for some areas off to the northwest. And then we'll give it a 40% chance of some scattered showers and thunderstorms developing on Saturday. High of 91 there. So outside of a chance of storms Saturday, just a muggy day. You can see the nighttime low temperatures back in the mid 70s, possibly upper 70s in urban areas. And then maybe an isolated pop-up every once in a while. But overall, mostly dry Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and staying well into the 90s for our last week of July, as August is right around the corner. So not this weekend, but next weekend, we begin the month of August. All right, got a couple more comments popping in. We are almost ready to dig into some of that weather model data. And we got Tammy Morton here. Good morning to you. Thanks for tuning in. And Mary Dale, it's really nice out this morning in New Albany. The humidity is definitely lower. Yeah, as I was strolling into work this morning here in the Extol Media Studios, live look at it right there in New Albany. It was feeling a bit refreshing out there. It was nice. But a nice morning to go take a stroll, take a walk around. Lillian Lasley, good morning to you. You are still in the muggy air there in Grayson County, Lillian. So unfortunately, you are kind of on the other side of the back door cool front that's been moving into the area. All right, let's go ahead and bring back up some weather graphics here for you. All right. We'll start cooking with the weather models here. So those are the dew points. We'll look at the precipitable water. So we'll do comfort cast first, and then we'll look at the next storm chances and all that good stuff as well. And the Climate Prediction Center, I always like to check that out too. So with that said, we'll go straight up to the GFS weather model, since we're going to look a little bit farther down the road. And we're going to look at the precipitable water. Then we'll look at the apparent temperatures, which is the heat index. And let me try to find it. There we go. All right, so this is basically right now. You can see that drier air has been working into our region. And so you can notice that the muggy air pushed up into the Mississippi Valley. You can see that streams in from the southeast. But thankfully, for a day or two, this little wedge of dry air has won the battle for many of us. So it's going to feel, again, a little bit better out there for today. Now, I'm going to jump ahead day by day here. So we're going to go to the 23rd. That is tomorrow afternoon. Let me go to, we'll go to 2 p.m. All right, so it's a close call tomorrow. So this is tomorrow afternoon. You can see the muggy air right there. Kind of a weird strip of mugginess that goes all the way up into Canada. But there you can see it out to our west. So it looks like tomorrow, for another day, the drier air will win, but we're hot. We've got July heat. We're at like 94 degrees tomorrow afternoon. But at least it's not 94 with this guy out here. That would put our heat index like 105. And it's pretty impressive. A lot of the weather models showing areas out west in Illinois around those cornfields could see dew points in the low 80s, which is just insane. Like higher dew points than Florida. You get that evaporation, the transpiration from the corn and the soybeans, making it even muggier. Vicky Berger, good morning. Good morning. Thanks for tuning in there from Salem, Indiana. All right, so now we're going to jump. So that's tomorrow. Let's go ahead and jump ahead to Thursday and see the not so good news as far as our comfort cast is concerned. So this is July 24th, and there you can see that mugginess, that pink. Anything in pink is dew points in the 70s. So as I can also bring up the dew point map here and correlate that to this. That's not what you want to see. That is your Thursday, okay? And a dew point is a measure of the water content in the air. So if you cool the air temperature down to the dew point temperature, you're going to create dew. You're going to condense the water out of the air onto a surface. So at nighttime, right at the grass level, a lot of times our air temperature does get down to the dew point, and you get dew on the grass or dew on your car. If you take, your glass of water, your Mountain Dew outside, that ice in there is cooling the air around it down to the dew point, and so you get water droplets. So that's all it is. It's just the temperature you need to drop the air temperature down to create dewdrops. And so the higher the dew point temperature, the more moisture you have in the air. It's easier to get down to the dew point. And we've got Diane Bauer here. Good morning from Starlight. A little wind outside, but doesn't feel too bad. Yeah, just a little bit of a breeze today from the east-northeast at around 5 to 10. So there's our tropical air returning. That's Thursday map, if you're just tuning in here. All right, let me clear that off. And that's not going anywhere. We can look to Sunday the 27th. In fact, if anything, it'll probably just get worse. There's that muggy air all over the place, unless you want to go way out west towards Denver. And then you're looking at that more desert, dry air. So here is, that's rough stuff. We're looking at upper 70s dew points. But this is what I'm talking about out west. Off the chart. Central Illinois, 80s dew points. Incredible. All right, so in close to 80 even in our backyard. This is Sunday. So that's rough stuff right there. Rough stuff. With that said, will there be hope down the road? There's always hope in the long range models. If we look to let's go July 30th. So what is that next Wednesday? Dry air is north. We're still muggy. Let's go to next Thursday, the 31st. Getting closer. And then let's go to August 1st. And then I'm going to bring up the precipitable water. So that shows maybe we can get a little break as we wrap up July and head into August, showing the potential of some drier air pushing back in and the really muggy stuff moving back down south. Pretty cool, though. You can see the influence, of the Gulf and the tropics. We can go across the globe if you want. We go to Europe, subtropical jet stream. You can see all of that tropical air of the midsection of the Earth. Going back over the Pacific, there's Honolulu, there's the West Coast, and then now we're back home. Isn't technology wonderful? Just go around the world. All right, so that is the Comfort Cast. Hopefully late July into August, we can get another little reprieve, a little break in the crazy humidity. Okay, now let's look at our next chance of some rain, shall we? Let's see how far out the NAM weather model will go. And we're going to bring up the reflectivity. And I need to back this up to, let's just go to Friday, the 25th. Whoa, that was a super zoom. So it doesn't show a whole lot out there, but maybe just like a pop-up isolated shower or thunderstorm or two. And then I'm going to go to the GFS weather model. So this is the GFS on Friday. It also shows a little chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm in the afternoon. Vicky Berger, just like Superman, going around the world. We can pretend. So this is Friday. Now let's go to Saturday. So this is Saturday morning. So front moving into the region, high pressure is breaking down, and this will increase our chance for some showers and thunderstorms. This is 11 a.m. Saturday. There you can see that's why we're increasing the rain chance on Saturday. Not only the GFS weather model, but the European weather model also on board for some scattered showers and thunderstorms on Saturday. And maybe a decent chance in the morning Saturday as well. So that is, look at our Saturday afternoon. And the other thing to talk about is the apparent temperatures. So this is, look at your heat index. Look at that muggy air. There's no relief even way up north. 100 dew points up in Minnesota. And getting hot in southern Canada as well. So let's go to Thursday. So let's go to a couple days from now on the 24th when the tropical air returns. So basically cut the nation in half, the southeastern half of the U.S. under Caribbean air, tropical air you can wear. Air is thick enough you can cut it with a knife, all that good stuff. Swampy, sweaty, sultry, sizzling, soupy. That's about all I got. All right, so that is the air that we're going to have for Thursday back across the area. And when we drop in some of the heat index numbers, there you can see wherever we query here, it goes to over 100. And the worst of it, where the dew points are in the low 80s, central Illinois dew points up to like 105, 110. Could be worse. Could be worse. So there you go. Get a little bit more water there. And so the Climate Prediction Center 6 to 10 day outlook shows heat wave building over the midsection of the United States next week. We're kind of on the edge of that. So we are in the 90s, a little bit above normal for this time of the year. And we may end up with a heat advisory Thursday, Friday, because the heat index could climb to around 105 in some areas. I believe it's 105 for over a couple hours is typically when we get a heat advisory. So that shows much of the United States with above normal chances of above normal temperatures. unless you want to go out to California. Over in Cali, they're going to be cooling down a bit. That's 6 to 10 day outlook. And as we bring up the 8 to 14 day outlook, maybe we get a little bit closer to normal, into early August. That's kind of what the GFS was hinting at. Maybe even the European weather model trying to hint at maybe another little backdoor cool front trying to work in. So that would be not this weekend, next weekend, maybe a little potential there. But we've seen that happen before. The outs or the long range portion of the weather models kind of tease us sometimes with some cooler temperatures. Then sometimes that doesn't work out. So that is that right there. Pop it up to right at 10:30 on our Tuesday morning, July the 22nd. And obviously no risk of severe weather for us today as we are dry. That is up in the upper Midwest and the northern plains. If you want to go do some storm chasing, that's where you got to go. And then as we look at day 2, severe weather threat across the United States, that is the upper Midwest over northern Wisconsin into southern Minnesota, northeastern Nebraska, northwestern Iowa. That's where you got to go storm chasing. Laura, thanks for tuning in this morning. Laura DeVore. And then day 3, so this would be Friday, no severe weather threat for us. This would be Thursday. It would be Thursday as we stay dry. And really no outlook for day 4. All right. Pretty simple stuff for us over the next several days. Thankfully, kind of nice to get a little break in what has been the wild weather year of 2025. We had, as I recall, I don't remember what month. Was it February? We had the snow system that got us stuck. We had it was like sleet and freezing rain and then snow on top of that. So we couldn't get out of our neighborhood for like 3 or 4 days. And so we had a little bit of a rough winter. And then we had the biggest flooding we've seen in a long time in April. We had March storms, hailstorm that moved through the area. We had some tornadoes in spots. And then it's just been a wet summer so far and incredibly humid as well. All right, marching right along. Was that Beverly? Was that in January? Yeah. And it did. I'm trying to think if we had enough ice to actually walk on our pond. It doesn't happen very often. And glad you're here for our weather. Glad you're here to watch the weather. Thank you for tuning in here this morning, Laura. All right, we're going to bring back up the forecast here for you. So we go over the forecast graphics in the beginning, for those popping on in the beginning, and then we go back over it toward the end. And Laura says, our car was frozen, would not open. Yeah, that was not a fun one. I remember that very well. All right, here is a look at the forecast. But it's kind of nice to think about those chilly temperatures. I remember just hoping for muggy air. And then we sure got a lot of muggy air. It seemed like winter was dragging on. Lower humidity today. Enjoy that out there, guys. Dry weather through Thursday, isolated pop-up shower thunderstorm Friday afternoon, and then storms are going to be more likely for us on Saturday. Your play ball forecast. Noon today, 85, 89, the high temperature, and then 82 at 8 p.m. Again, my son is lucky enough to go out and golf today. I'm getting a little bit jealous. East-northeast wind at 5 to 10. I might have to test out the bad back on some golf swings and see how it goes. UV index, very high level of 10. Get that sunburn within like 15 minutes with that full force late July sunshine. This might be bothering some of you. So we were at low levels, last week, and then now we're up to moderate levels of weed pollen. So plantain, nettle, other weeds out there might be what is the issue if you're starting to get clogged up. Sunsets, 9:01 today, but in 2 days we have before 9 p.m. sunsets, and then we lose like 2 hours of daylight in like a month and a half. So we have 14 hours and 20 minutes of daylight now. That goes down to 12 hours and 40 minutes of daylight by early September. And then we lose like 4 hours of daylight by early November. It's kind of interesting to keep track of. So your July 22nd today, 89. Again, lower humidity, mostly sunny, east-northeast wind 5 to 10, sunset 9:01. Tonight, mostly clear, not quite as humid, low 68. So I think a lot of suburbs, outlying areas will drop down to the mid-upper 60s. AC just maybe a touch of a break. In tomorrow's forecast for your Wednesday, July 23rd, around 70 at 8 a.m., 88 at noon. It's going to be a hotter day, but the humidity isn't out of control tomorrow. 94 for that high. So the air temperature should be the same as the heat index tomorrow, but that's not the case Thursday and Friday. The heat index could be around 100, 105. 95 back-to-back Thursday, Friday, and then about a 30% chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm Friday. So enjoy the little break today. Take advantage because things change, increasing that chance of showers and thunderstorms Saturday. As we get closer to that into the higher resolution weather models, we might be ramping that rain chance up even a little bit more than that for Saturday. And not a lot to kick up showers and thunderstorms, maybe just kind of a garden variety, isolated afternoon. Pop up here and there Sunday, Monday, Tuesday as the heat and humidity rolls on into next week. And in case you missed it, we were looking at when we might see some relief once again. That might be the end of next week into next weekend as we wrap up July. August is not this weekend, but next week. Some hints that we might get a little more refreshing air back in the forecast for early August. So we'll see about that. 63 days away from autumn, I believe. Cut that in half, and that's about how far we are off to college football. It's crazy. I think there are Southern Indiana schools starting to go back, like next week, and then more a couple weeks after that. Hate to see it. Hate to see summer flying by. Still my favorite season, despite all the sweating and all that good stuff. All right. So that is the forecast right there. We'll take a look outside real quick here at the corner of Vincennes and Market in uptown New Albany. Do have still some cloud cover over parts of the area. But we are going to see, and let me remove that and bring this back up. We'll bring up the radar and satellite one last time as we look at current conditions across the area. And again, we're wrapping up our Ben at 10 show here. This is the radar and satellite. So you can see the little layer of clouds that we have over the area, over parts of the area. A little cloudier once you get south of Elizabethtown, a little sunnier in Indiana west of I-65, but really quiet conditions back now over the Ohio Valley. All right, we got some shout outs here. New partner here with us with Extol Weather, Extol Media, Michael Long, certified agency, America Star certified agency. If you want to get a quotes, car, home, whatever it might be, we've got our side-by-side on there. I've got my cabin on there. Contact Michael Long, get you a quote. If you're not happy with your service right now, you might want to check something else out. And you can give him a ring at 812-578-3072. And tons of 5-star reviews on his page right there. And he's got a lot of friends out in Southern Indiana that can definitely vouch for him and gives back to his community and a lot of schools around the area. So appreciate that as well. You can level up your career wherever you're at. I would definitely recommend if you're a sophomore in high school, start thinking ahead to getting those free credits, college credits. You're talking about saving thousands of dollars here if you go to ivytech.edu and also talk about the dual credit with your high school counselor, whether it's Prosser. I mean, really a jump start to your college career and eventually your career. 42 different programs offered. They got Tuesdays at the Tech, but you can head out to their campus, learn a whole lot more about all the different programs that they have offered there. Then you can get your job. You can apply for your jobs. You can apply now here. There's available employment opportunities at libspaving.com. That is L-I-B, B as in Ben, S, paving.com. They've been around for 50 years. Family-owned company up in Floyd's Knobs and the largest paving contractor around. So check out all of that. You can apply there online at libspaving.com. Job opening here at lionsroofingco.com, roofing repair technician. But whatever your roofing needs might be on whichever side of the river you are in Louisville or Indiana, give them a shout here at Lions Roofing, protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime. Call 812-294-3595. Personally, I thank them for helping out our family with our roofing issues that we have had. And check out extolmag.com. You get your big interactive radar right here. Temperatures, a lot of different tools as well. Thankfully, you won't have to track anything around here today. But other weather resources there. You've got your severe weather outlooks, severe weather watches, storm reports, river lake levels, drought status. No drought here. That's out west. And then current Indiana weather and traffic. And as we bring up a look at the U.S. Drought Monitor, I guess they've been a little drier than normal up around Chicago, but certainly no drought across our area. And there you can see a lot of different maps as far as drought right there. So again, just a lot of tools I want to show off here at extolmag.com. For our area, there's your weather story that I posted this morning, the 7-day forecast, our live stream up now. fallsoftheohiofoundation.org camera showing the cloudy, mostly cloudy conditions we have at the moment. But I do expect those clouds. Laura, yeah, that is quote for insurance. Again, that is Michael Long, American Family Insurance, agent right here, 812-578-3072. All right. That's going to almost wrap things up. Looking at the last few comments here at 10:42. Isn't it amazing? No matter what the weather, we can talk for 45 minutes, no problem. So we've got Lily and Lasley. Have a good day. Say a prayer for our car issues. So my son's got a car, my daughter's got a car, my wife's got a car, I got a car. They're all way over 100,000 miles. Some of them pushing 200,000 miles. One of them 225,000 miles. They're always in and out of the shop. And one's got a big old issue. So we could use those good vibes. We could use the good vibes. We've always been kind of cursed with the vehicles. I don't know if anybody, I know there's a lot of car people that love cars. I wish I could love cars, but they do me dirty too often. Anyway, moving on. Let's get positive again. All right. Vicky Berger. It's beautiful in Salem, not a cloud in the sky. Yeah, we'll continue to see more and more of those clouds fizzle out there. Mary Dale, we appreciate that. We'll probably go ahead and end it right there. And we'll end it with one last look outside. Hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday, July 22nd. We'll see you for our hump day tomorrow, Wednesday, July 23rd. Same time, same place. Hope you guys have a good rest of your week. We'll see you later.